Thursday, and welcome back to the Couchside Judges. I'm Scott Fontana. Follow me on Twitter at Scott_Fontana.
And I'm Dan Urban. Follow me at the Dan Urban. Follow the podcast at Couchside Judges. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple, everywhere, Spotify. Like it. Do everything.
Every single thing that he just said. And in exchange, we will try to put those episodes out back on our normal Monday more regularly, right?
Yeah, and we're going to talk MMA judging. Make sure you read the criteria.
You do, but you'll have less time to do it between episodes because it's Thursday, like we said. We were delayed for one of us going to Vegas and watching a terrible football team.
I went to watch the Giants on Sunday night. It was
Sunday night over there. It was 1:00.
Well, when I got out of the game, it was dark out, so it was
fair.
Sunday night.
Fine.
However, I was rewarded on Fremont Street when I ran into Raul Rosas Jr.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Very friendly, awesome guy. Started taking pictures with everyone. I think I started it because I noticed. I'm like, oh my God, that's Raul.
Mm-hmm.
His family was like really cool about everything. It was awesome.
Well, I would hope they'd be. It's like they're taking pictures with their child.
Yeah, exactly. Truthfully, yes, their child.
Yeah. Is he 18 yet?
He's 19.
He's 19. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He couldn't drink.
Legally an adult,
legally.
Yes. Could not. He certainly was not drinking. There's no way he had an alcoholic drink.
From the brief interaction I saw, I didn't see one.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, no need to get charged with underage drinking.
Yeah.
That would just be embarrassing.
I'm sure that's never happened in Vegas before.
Yeah, but for a UFC fighter, that'd be a little embarrassing.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Strange.
But he'd have to be sought out to be.
Well, if you put it on social media.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they can do that after the fact. Be weird if they did.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think, because they can't prove what was in the
That's
cup.
a good point.
So
that's right.
They'd be wasting their time.
Yeah.
But no, he did not have a drink in the picture we took together. I did.
Mm-hmm. You're allowed.
Yeah.
You're an older man.
Yes.
Yeah. Older man.
Either way, I had a good time, lost a ton of money, and now I'm back.
Got some new ink?
Got a new, a little bit. Tattoo for Radar. He is now with me forever.
He always was.
He always was, but now he's on my body forever.
Mm-hmm. Say that again. Say that aloud for the kids.
Yeah. My dog is on my body forever.
I understand what you mean. It's your to clarify, Dan got the paw print of his dog tattooed onto his arm.
Yes.
Not an actual dog.
No.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
And
that might be illegal, probably.
I guess it depends on the state.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is very silly, my friend. We're not gonna do a whole lot of dwelling on things that came off of UFC Sao Paulo for two reasons. One, almost nothing came out of that because it was just kind of an event that made people in Brazil happy that they got to watch fights again and watch their guys, which is great. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Happy for the people of Brazil. But basically it wasn't important at all. Also, again, it is Thursday. We're very late to get this show to you guys.
Yeah,
we apologize.
Everything's been unpacked.
It's Dan's
already.
fault completely.
It is.
It is 100% Dan's fault. I wanted to record it Saturday night. I said, don't go to the game. Dan, true or false? Did I tell you that?
You did say don't go to the game.
I did. I said we had a lot of rounds to get to.
But I went anyway.
Like a jerk.
Great stadium. It blows MetLife away.
Really?
Yeah, it blows it away.
Okay. Well, that doesn't take much.
It's true. It doesn't take
a low
much.
Bar.
But you know what? People not from our area think it's like a destination stadium.
What?
MetLife? Yeah, because I talked to a few people like, oh, so you get to go to MetLife? I'm like, yeah.
Have they been to it?
It's a hunk of metal. It's terrible.
So they've not been to it.
They've never been to it.
They're of the impression it is something that we should care about.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. They're like, really? They were so shocked when I told them it's a piece of garbage.
We need to have more people that spread the word of this being a terrible stadium.
Yeah, the most expensive stadium in the league, and it's the worst.
It is the worst. But there is one thing to get to.
Yeah.
And that is Jailton Almeida, the winner of the main event. This much we can talk about. You watched the fight. You're all caught up. This was someone who has been, I don't know if it's fast-tracked, but they've certainly been pushing him pretty hard, right? Yeah. Moving up the ladder. Originally supposed to be was supposed to be against Curtis Blades, which I still think would have been a much more interesting test of what he can do against a different type of fighter. He's still got to fight this time Derrick Lewis and beat Derrick Lewis all 5 rounds. He got to fight somebody who's a striker who's not necessarily the greatest at staying on his feet all the time. And usually we can see, and we did see in this fight, Derrick Lewis was able to avoid trouble. He did make it all the way to the distance. First time in a 5-round fight from Derrick Lewis. But I think on the whole, maybe not the most impressive performance from Jailton Almeida. It was impressive in a sense, but like I think it changes the way people should look at his upside. I don't know how you feel about
no,
that.
I don't think so.
I do. I actually do. I disagree with you.
I don't see late replacement. I think Spencer Kite summed it up perfectly. Say this is a late replacement knockout artist. I'm gonna put him on the ground and play it.
No,
somewhat
of course,
safe. So.
Of course he did. He fought the way he was supposed to fight. I understand that, but this is really the only way we've ever seen him.
Okay, so
he has shown no other dimensions.
Gotcha.
It's the same fight every single time, and no one to this point can stop it. But there will come a point, and it's coming very soon, where he's going to fight guys that actually can stop that, and it'll be. What now? And I still don't know what that is. So I guess in part I can't blame him because yes, as we said, and as Spencer astutely pointed out, you kind of just had to get done with the challenge you got in front of you, Yeah. And that was the way to beat Derrick Lewis, the path of least resistance. But also, he found himself in a bit of trouble here and there against Derrick Lewis. I mean, he couldn't keep him down. He couldn't really get him into anything super threat. He kept him down, but like not in a way that he was able to do a whole lot of, I think, effective offense from.
So what
I would have liked to have seen much more strikes thrown. Strikes landed.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it.
We will,
but that's both guys' fault.
Sure. No, look, Derrick Lewis. He is what he is.
He played that corpse guard that
yes,
Bisping was talking about.
Yes, he did. I still would have liked to have seen more from him, especially as it got later in the fight. Like, try to deliver some punches. Sure enough, I think he was looking kind of tired at one point and then was able to get through it.
Yeah, he was getting to gas.
So I would say that he did show something in that respect. But again, nothing that I saw over 25 minutes said to me, this looks like somebody who's going to be a real problem for the upper levels of the division, which he's basically at now. The next guys up for him are going to be in that range.
Yeah.
So
it is Thursday, so the rankings have come out. He bumped up to 7 from 9.
Then he's probably not fighting backwards at any point now. So
Blades is probably next. How bad was Blades' injury?
I don't remember. I don't recall. Okay. I hope they do rebook that. I think that's the one that you have to make. It really, they tried to make it. Credit where it's due.
So I was thinking, okay, we're going to learn a lot from Almeida versus Blades. Blades gets hurt, in comes Derrick Lewis. Okay, now it's in Almeida. Okay. Let me get through this, and then now we'll learn about him in the next fight.
Sure, and that's fair.
That's kind of what I'm taking it as.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be overly harsh on Jailton Almeida, but I just don't know what kind of fighter we have if this is the only dimension that he's able to show.
And Lewis is a guy that does get finished. So maybe, if he did open up more, he could have got out of there quicker.
I would have liked to have seen some more risk take he did. I thought it was too safe. And I'm surprised you're not more up in arms about that. You don't love that. You're usually much more harsh on it than I am. So I'm actually really surprised.
I didn't watch it live though.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Fair enough.
Usually when it's I got to watch it live. I'm like, oh my God, all right. Get this over with.
Well, you still had to watch it.
I know, but it wasn't like on a Saturday night. And
true. Maybe you were just on a high from Vegas.
It could be.
Did have a
just
good trip.
Being overly nice.
Yeah, well, that's lovely. We've got it. Like I said, we got a lot of contested rounds. Shouldn't have gone to the game. That was your fault. Let the show down. Let our listeners down.
Let Daniel Jones down.
Let Daniel Jones down. Yeah, that was you. You tore up his knee. Good job. But the unanimity report before we get to all those rounds, from UFC Sao Paulo, of course, 23 overall, 12 unanimous. 52.2%. Not the greatest of percentages. It's not what they're shooting for. 5 of the rounds were 8-9 splits. And that was the chief cause for getting quite so low in terms of the actual percentage. There's rounds here and there. Maybe it's spoiling it a little bit, but I think neither of us came away thinking that there were any really bad rounds in terms of who won the round. It's not one of those situations. There were some close rounds, so it's not like that was a bad job. But yeah, we're gonna be highlighting for sure the 9/8, which is not the first time in recent weeks that we've done that. I feel like there's a pattern forming ever since we did that show with Sean Sheehan too.
It's our fault.
No, it's not our fault. It's Sean's fault.
Ever since we did that show,
Always blame someone else. Yeah.
there's just more and more things that just pop into my mind that can be improved.
No,
This happens all the time.
we weren't going to cover everything.
Yeah.
You can't get to it all. But let's get now to our contested rounds, because again, we do have so many of them. We're going to start with the majority draw on the card, though, which does include the first of the 5 9/8 splits, and then we're going to kind of just run down all of those from there. So Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos and Renat Facardino, they fought to a majority draw, 2 28-28s, and then there was a 29-28 for EZDS. But again, that was not the majority. The majority was the draw. Rounds 2 and 3 are our splits. Round 2 first. We're talking about who won the round. What happened here?
Good close round. I think Fakardimov is landing a bit better and a bit more. EZDS landed some good counters, especially a leg kick that stumbled Fakardinov. But on the whole, I do favor Fakardinov. The back clinch and knees at the end of the round kind of solidified it for me. So 10-9 Fakardinov.
No, I went the other way. But it's close. I did like the damage that was being dealt with the kicks. I kind of favor that a little bit more. I just thought it was a little harder.
Okay.
I don't have a whole lot more to say about that one. I think that's very fair to go either way.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, not a big round. Round 3 though, this is the one we're actually talking about the degree to which Zaleski dos Santos won the round. By the way, and we should point out the judges on that one. You agreed with the majority being Halison Pontes and Sal D'Amato. I agreed with Judge Fabio Alves. What about round 3, man?
I think it's pretty competitive early, but it's still clearly EZDS winning the striking battle. And then he lands a body kick that just shuts Fakardinov down, and he swarms him, lands a bunch of shots to the head, then takes the back, sinks in a rear naked choke. He doesn't finish, but it's pretty tight. I think it's an 8 here. I don't really care too much for a 9.
I think I'm with you, but I mean, again, part of this is where are we at now with the definition of 8 and 9s?
Yeah.
Everything just seems so thrown off, and not able to be performed uniformly when you travel outside of, the key commissions that do this all the time, with the major promotions, I should say. It's not that Brazil doesn't have fights. Obviously they have tons of fights, but yeah, I think it definitely starts to highlight, all right, we're not seeing the same things from every judge, right? Or the judges are maybe not practicing the same things in different parts of the world. So I did have the 8. I had it like you. Judges Pontes and D'Amato again were the majority here for EZDS 10-8 like us, and Alves was on his own giving the 10-9 for Zaleski dos Santos.
Yeah,
I think we can move on probably the next round. I don't have any
I got
other.
nothing.
I don't think I have any other from this round in this fight. We're gonna move on though to the main event because there are 2 10-8 splits here. Jailton Almeida, of course, beating Derrick Lewis. 2 50-44s and a 50-45. Those were in different rounds. The majority score is 9 in each of these cases. Let's start with round 2.
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on this a little bit already. I mean, it's a pretty dominant round. Lewis is not offering much when it's on the ground. But also, like we mentioned, neither is Almeida. It doesn't seem too pressed to finish the fight. Like we said, definitely dominant, but not as dominant as he could have been. I don't think he's struggling to keep the position at all, as Lewis doesn't seem to care about escaping them. It's such a loose mount. There's so much space he's giving him, and Lewis is just laying there, nothing really, doing. I wish Almeida gave you a little more, because then you can go to. Then I would go to the 8, but I'm just on a 9.
I think there is dominance.
There is dominance.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could certainly be doing more to try and finish the fight, working toward the finish. But I think there's a clear outclassing of the grappling, and it is sustained. So if you've got dominance and duration, which I think you do, I can see why Judge Alves is able to go for the 8 here, because we're still able to consider that, right? But I would think that probably in California or in Nevada, the regulators would look at this and say, well, we don't really want to see those as 8s. That's just my feeling on that. But again, the language in the document supports it. There is nothing wrong with Fabio Alves giving that round by the letter of the law. So he's not wrong. But it's confusing because that's not what they really want anymore. So it's like, God. I gave it a 9. You gave it a 9. Sal D'Amato, Dave Torelli, they gave it 9s because they work in the United States. They're used to that kind of thing. This not being the type of round they want to see as an 8 anymore. And I get it. I don't really think this ought to be a round where I don't know. It's tough, right? I
Mm-hmm.
want to see more effort on Almeida's part to put the effective strikes out there.
Yeah.
Land those strikes. He's got the dominant positions. He's just not doing anything with them. He's very content to hold on. So that is a little disappointing. So yeah, maybe that's just a long-winded way of saying what I did, which is 9. What about round 4?
Yeah, pretty much how the whole fight's been going. Almeida gets a takedown, mounts it, he gets to the back, he lands some punches here and there. Lewis just lays there, not really caring about trying to get up at all. I really don't mind an 8 here because, Lewis does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, Almeida doesn't even appear to be applying much pressure like I mentioned before. Loose mount. Doesn't lock in body triangle. None of the chokes are that close. It's around the 20-second mark where he starts to, to open up a bit. Starts landing some good shots. And this is, it actually forces Derrick Lewis to say, oh, I got to get out of here and start trying to get up. As he's trying to get up, he gets smacked with a few more in the turtle position. I guess I just would like a little bit more to get to the 8, but I got no issue with it. So, but I'm on the 9.
Yeah, I'm on the 9 too. I don't know. I don't think this is this. I think it's closer to an 8 than round 2, but not much so.
All right.
I still feel like, put it this way, pick one of these rounds because a lot of them are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I think round 3 was actually a different round. Like it actually resembled some different action happening, right? Because we had some bigger strikes landed from Derrick Lewis on the feet, but we also had in turn some bigger strikes landed from Jailton Almeida on the feet. This is the only time where it actually looked like a different fight in round 3, right? But round 1 to me was the one that felt the closest to an 8, but not an 8. It still didn't feel like an 8.
We still scored at a 9, but I did feel closest to the 8 with round 1.
And you pointed this out to me too, the fact that I was, we were talking about this recently, like some judges, a lot of judges really don't seem as likely as they would in later rounds to give round 1 the 10-8 unless it's very obvious. It's not that it doesn't happen, but it seems like there's typically a, well, if we're on the fence here, probably isn't where we're going to set the baseline for what an 8 will be in this fight. And I do think round 1 ultimately is the one that felt closer to an 8. If you told me gun to your head, it's like one of these rounds is going to be an 8. This is of course a hindsight thing,
Yeah.
It would be round 1, but probably round 4, I guess, would be second.
Yeah, round 4.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. It comes down to the definition. I'll beat this horse into the ground until we actually get the language in the books, right? It just doesn't seem to be in sync with what we're typically seeing. That said, the judge who gave the 8 here is Sal D'Amato, who is very experienced in this and is pretty much a standard bearer in this kind of thing, So he must have seen something.
I do think there's more damage in this round than round 2.
There is, but I still don't know that it looks like a round that you'd get to an 8 for. I don't know. I'm all screwed up too because week to week 2, I'll even get mixed up.
Yeah. I mean, Derrick Lewis just laying there helps nobody.
It doesn't help anybody, but he's not in much danger. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
He's really just not in that much. If he was in danger enough, he's probably trying to stop it, but he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that. So why is he wasting his energy? He's trying to save for the bomb.
I get it, but you got to get up. You got to stand up to land a bomb.
Sure. No question. But he's also not threatened either. I don't think he's threatened in this round, in this fight. I don't think he was threatened much at all. So, as I said, disappointing effort, I guess, in that sense. Just want to see more killer instinct from the guy, especially at heavyweight.
Okay. Get those fights over real quick.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't want 25 minutes of that. I wanted 5 minutes of that, as I've made very clear on this program week to week. But that's it for that fight. We can move on to, again, we've got a couple more 8-9 splits. This is one from early in the card. This was Eduarda Mora got the win in her UFC debut. Missed weight, by the way, over Montserrat Ruiz, who looked like she was probably a atom weight fighting against a borderline flyweight. Round 2 TKO. Round 1 was very dominant for Mora. Was it an 8? I don't know. Let's talk about the round.
Yeah, I think this is an easy 8. Once Mora hits the ground and sweeps Montserrat Ruiz, it's damage and dominance for the rest of the round, which is like 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Looking to finish, landing punches and elbows. I don't know how this can't be an 8.
This felt like a very textbook 8.
Yeah.
It really did. This is the round where I would think most people are watching it and saying, all right, well, we saw an 8 here. This is what you're looking for. Doesn't matter what commission you're going for, no matter who you've been answering to. This really ought to be an 8.
Even Brendan Fitzgerald thought it was an 8.
Listen, controlled time is obviously the number one decider in
Clearly.
what's an 8.
Yes.
So that happened here. But yeah, I was very surprised to see this was a split. I couldn't believe it. So we came out of that, and well, Sal D'Amato gave it an 8, of course. Good job, Sal. Alessandro Vieira, he also gave the 8. Halison Pontes, very veteran judge, one of the most veteran judges from Brazil. Also has actually a very good dissent percentage from what I've been tracking. I'm still working on the numbers from some previous years, but he actually has a very good percentage for whatever that's worth. And yeah, he gave the 9 here, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a tough
Why is
9.
Why is this not an 8?
Tough 9.
It's a very tough 9. I don't want to see it that way. I think if you're gonna set a baseline, this is the 8.
Yeah, it's an 8.
Mm-hmm. Which makes the next round we talk about a little puzzling. I think we can kind of piece out how it could have potentially happened. But let's talk about the next fight here. The next round, the final 8-9 split. Nicholas Dalby in the co-main event coming back to defeat Gabriel Bonfim. Round 2 TKO. After round 1, we're talking about a one-way round. I mean, it's not one way, but it's definitely he wasn't the greatest of starts for Nicholas Dalby.
Well, the second half is kind of one way.
Yeah, the second
first half
sure.
of the round, they spend on the feet. Bonfim's winning it,
Mm-hmm.
but Dalby is very game, and he's landing his own shots. He's keeping it quite competitive.
Yeah.
It's halfway through when Bonfim gets it down to the ground. He moves to side control and then to mount with like about a minute left. He's not really doing much damage here or landing anything of significance. It's about 20 seconds left or 25 seconds left when he starts throwing these elbows. But I don't think many, if any, land all that flushly. Mostly they're being blocked on the arms. Some of the punches after he throws do get through. I don't see an 8 here, but if you're cage side, you see these strikes, maybe you get there. I don't know. I think it's a 9.
I think it's a 9 too. I'm very willing to give the leeway that this may go to the 8, right? I'm not going to sit here and deny it like that. What's crazy though is we have the same judges as the last. Well, actually, it's not the same judge. I should correct myself. The 2 judges who saw it just as you and I did for a 9, the majority score, Alessandro Vieira and Dave Torelli. The 3rd judge, the one who gave it the 8, is Halison Pontes, who gave the 9 in the other fight, which was the no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the surface, before you really dig into it, it's like, what are we doing here? What is going on, Halison?
Mm-hmm.
What's the deal? This is completely inconsistent. But then you factor in, okay, one of these happened several hours earlier. And in that time, maybe officials kind of discuss and say, hey, this is kind of the type of thing. You didn't see it that way. It's like, okay, maybe you can reconsider it. I don't know this. I had no conversation with any officials. I have no idea. But I'm going to piece it out that, yes, there's a decent chance that the officials chatted about the round. Very normal thing to do. And maybe he said, okay, maybe I need to kind of reconfigure my compass. And it probably just went a little too far.
Yeah, just went a little bit too far the other way.
Because it's optically, when you have people like us, the nerds, dig into this, most people wouldn't have noticed, if we're not actually talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably didn't. And, those who didn't listen to our program and aren't listening to our program or are protesting our program because it's so late in the week.
Don't protest it.
Well, you're listening already. You're not protesting. So thank you for that. But yeah, it definitely is a weird optic when you look at it like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not ideal, but if it leads to a better understanding or better application even of the 8s going forward from, again, a solid Brazilian judge in Halison Pontes, then, hey, it's a net gain, And both these fights ended in round 2, so it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, the more you know. That was all of the 10-8-9 splits, my friend.
Okay.
We got 5 more rounds, though.
5
more rounds to get to, including this split decision. Mark Diakiese got the win over Cowie Fernandez. I can't remember if that was how it said. Cowie, right? Cowie. Yeah, which is what my son calls his stuffed cow, Cowie.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be called Cowie if you're a cow?
My children have a very distinct way they name their stuffies. They take whatever it is and they add a Y sound at the end. Yeah. That's Cowie. There's a candy corn that we got recently. That's corny.
Okay. They could manage the Yankees then.
Giraffe. We have Giraffe.
Because that's how Aaron Boone nicknames all the players.
Girardi did that too, though.
And Girardi did too.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you learned it from.
I believe it's just a Yankee thing at this point.
So you can just manage, your kids can manage the Yankees.
probably better than
They could.
than Arabunia.
Yeah.
I don't know what their whims would be for it.
And I mean, I don't know. Do we send out a cease and desist for Judgy?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
We want
Ours is the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though they're calling Aaron Judge Judgy. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe we should put him on our award.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
I mean, we can't do anything about all the other awards we mailed out, and unfortunately never made it to their destinations, the post offices. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this. Jacasey got the win. It was 30-27, 29-28, and 28-20. 29-28 the other way. So we are talking about 2 split rounds, starting with 1. Go.
It's a round with a lot going on, but also not that much going on offense-wise. I mean, is that fair to say?
That's gobbledygook.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of scrambles. Both guys landed a couple strikes on the feet. Fernandez with the leg kicks. Jacasey had a nice lateral drop to take it to the ground. Fernandez used an omoplata to get back up. They clinch a bit. Jacasey wrestled some more, ended up the round on top, landed a couple strikes here and there, while Fernandez landed some elbows from the bottom. All in all, a very busy round, but also kind of low output.
In terms of effective offense.
Yeah. I mean, I can't be up in arms either way here, but I do score for Jacasey 10-9.
I also had it for Jacasey, but yeah, this is a close round. This is not the round to be up in arms about. I don't think people were about this particular fight. I think they came away with an understanding that this was actually a pretty close fight. So, but yeah, so we did end up on the same side though. We were against the majority being Fabio Alves and Dave Torelli, scoring it for Fernandez. We scored it for Jacasey along with House and Pontes. Yes. What does that mean for Judge Pontes?
Couch side override. It's back.
Look, if we can't get these packages and these letters and this stuff in the mail to like parts of Jersey, it's not going to make it to Brazil. But we're going to try.
We'll give it a shot.
We're going to try and get it there. We're going to do our best. Trying to do it for Pontes. Round 2, though.
Yeah, decent round on the feet. I think it's pretty close. Both guys landed some good ones. Fernandez, particularly with the kicks to the body and legs, and Jacasey had a heavy left hand. On the ground, Jacasey isn't that busy, but he's busy enough, landing some decent ground and pound to win it for me. 10-9.
Yeah, same here. Super close. This is realistically, I had this fight as a 30-27, and it's one of those 30-27s that doesn't feel like a lopsided fight, The score definitely doesn't represent it in the sense of, well, it's a shutout. It really wasn't. It was just close, and he kind of eked out a couple rounds and then won like a decent third round, So yeah, we scored the majority being judges Alves and Pontes. Dave Torelli was the out judge here, but this not a bad score. Yeah, not a bad score.
Fine.
Moving on, 3 more rounds to go. This was the fight that we knew was going to be a part of this show, because anytime Angela Hill is on the card, we know we're going to talk about her. We know we're going to talk about the split decisions. It was not a split decision, unanimous decision, and honestly, decent fight.
Yeah.
It really was. It's not that Angela Hill has bad fights.
No, she has good fights. She just can't stop complaining about everything.
Your words, not mine. She definitely finds herself in a lot more split decisions than most fighters do, but I think that's part of that is a product of the high output that she seems to be matched by anybody else. The output, whatever output she puts out there, the other fighter is doing the same.
Yeah, and
it usually seems to lead to kind of an offensive or defensive deficiency, one way or the other.
Also strawweight.
Strawweight is what it is. This is how this goes. I wonder what happens if you take the Angela Hill fights out of there. What does that change the descent percentage at that weight class? That's another curiosity. But only round 1 is split here. She won the fight. Rounds 2 and 3 are not up for debate, but we're going to talk about round 1 here.
Yeah, Angela Hill started off
against Denise Gomez, by the way. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned that.
Yeah, Hill started off really good. She does push Gomez to the ground, and she lands some good ground and pound here. She won all the scrambles. She's getting around to the back, doing very well, landing good shots here. Gomez gets back to the feet, gets tossed on her head a couple times, right, with those trips. Mm-hmm. Remember those trips? You can toss on her head.
I remember some trips.
Yeah. But once Gomes is back on the feet and they're squared up, she lands some heavy shots on Angela Hill's face. And then it goes back to the ground. Gomes is on top now, able to set up an arm bar, and she doesn't get the arm bar, and so she just starts striking it and drumming on Angela Hill's head.
And Hill's not in a great way here either. To be honest,
she's kind of stuck in a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
But Hill's able to reverse the position and get on top. And, the final couple seconds of the round, she lands some punches and elbows. Very close round, but I do think Gomez gets it 10-9.
Yeah, I think it's one of those rounds where it really comes down to what degree do you weigh the biggest action of the round. The biggest action of the round was Gomes going for the armbar, and it looked like a pretty dangerous position. Whereas Angela Hill, I thought, was reasonably successful for most of the remainder of the round, and I did give her just a little bit of an edge there.
All right.
Yeah, perfectly fine to go the other way. I saw it differently than you. I saw it the same way Sal D'Amato did. You saw it as judges Dave Torelli and Alessandra Vieira did for Gomes.
Yes.
2 fights left, my friend.
2 left.
Kyle Bahalio got the win over Abbas Magomedov. I know it's Abus. Is it?
No, it's a bus.
Abus.
A boost.
It's a bus.
Yeah.
The wheels on a bus go. No. I have
Kind of how he fights.
I have young children, sir. The round 1 of this fight is a split, but this was a unanimous decision, 2 29-28 and a 30-27 for Bahalio in front of the home crowd. What's happening in round 1, though?
Pretty slow round. Bahalio is being, the more aggressive one going forward, but I think Magomedov's landing better and more often. Kind of a low output round. I can see the argument for either one here, but I scored it for Magomedov. Nothing more to it.
Yeah, anytime you have those low output, it is what it is. Magomedov does just tend to do a lot better at the start of fights, though.
Yeah, they said looked like he tried to, pace himself here.
Well, didn't work.
Did not work.
It did not work. He's got to find a different pace to fight at. But yeah, I saw it like you for Magomedov, but very close. And I don't want to say I don't care. It's not that I don't care. Although me saying that almost implies I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't. This is not the round to get hung up on. So you and I saw it with the majority, Sal D'Amato and Dave Torelli. Judge Alves was the one who saw this one for Bahalio. It's fine to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last round, my friend. Our favorites.
Oh, great.
The heavyweights. And not just heavyweights. Round 3 heavyweight. As Rodrigo Nascimento gets the win over Dante Almeida. This was a rematch, by the way. Probably a completely unnecessary one. But one nonetheless. Can't wait for the trilogy. Unanimous decision, 29-28 2 times, and a 30-27 for Nascimento. Again, Mays is already down 2-0 on the cards going into round 3. What happened here?
Well, he didn't fight like it. One of the worst rounds of the year.
Do you think so?
I mean, it was a tremendous staring contest for extended periods of the round.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, a few punches thrown in from each side here and there. I do think Nascimento was winning for a while, and then when Mays, he started, to pick up the pace, if you could even call
Maybe
it
some
that,
urgency there.
a tad bit. He started landing some heavier shots as the round went on. Swung it in his favor for me. Awful round, no complaints either way, but it's 10-9 Mays for me.
Yeah, we don't need to add too much more other than my score was also 10-9 Mays, and it could have gone either way, viably, and there's no problem. But we saw it as judges Vieira and Torelli did. Halison Pontes on his own here. No couchside override in this case, but also we don't mind the 9 here.
No.
We don't mind the 9. And that is it. We somehow managed to get through it all, even when you went to that game, defying your co-host.
Yes.
Whatever, man. Finishes. Not a lot of finishes. 4 finishes, all by KO or TKO. We had no submissions, which is always a little sad.
Yeah.
One fight ended in the first round.
Jailton probably should have.
Jailton should have.
Won.
All heavyweights should have.
Yeah.
In fact, Nascimento and Mays really let us down.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Tremendously.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite of the 4 finishes?
Nicholas Dalby's comeback over Gabriel Bonfim gives him his first loss, takes it 0. Big knee.
Those got to go.
Big knee swarms on him, especially after losing the round, being down 2 rounds, technically, on 1 scorecard. So
it was a very impressive finish.
Yep.
He's obviously he's easy to like. A lot of people really like Nicholas. So cool.
Yeah. What's yours?
Elvis Brenner, who face planted Kanan Khrushchevsky, I think, inside of a round to become the completely unofficial UFC super lightweight champion. This fight being staged at a catch weight of 165 pounds, which is an official weight class called super lightweight.
Yeah, I wonder why they wouldn't want that. They don't want that knowledge being, widespread because they don't want more demand for it.
They probably don't want more demand for it. Correct. Yeah. But now I am all about the big cross promotional unofficial title unifier between Elvis Brenner and Yancy Medeiros, who won the most recent 165-pound fight for Bellator.
Okay.
I need that fight. We need that fight. Brenner, Medeiros, headliner.
I do. I like that fight.
T-Mobile Arena.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is it for UFC Sao Paulo. We probably talked about it more than anyone should have, especially for Thursday.
Yeah, we talked a lot for a Thursday.
We will never talk about that event again. I feel like
Nothing really special came out of it.
I'm much more interested anyway in what's going to happen in just a couple days because it's right here, dude.
It's right here.
UFC 295, Madison Square Garden. This weekend, pay-per-view, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, main card. Traditional start time for these. It's right in our backyard. Just earlier today, this being Wednesday, I was at UFC Media Day, did all that stuff, talked to Tom Aspinall, who's fighting for the, in actually the co-main against Sergey Pavlovich for the interim heavyweight title, which kind of feels like the title that's going to be continually defended, unlike the one that John Jones holds and is going to defend at some point, apparently, against Stipe Miocic.
Why?
Why what?
Why fight Stipe at this point?
Because it's what he wants.
It's over. It's over. Stipe is never fighting again.
He's going to fight John Jones if he fights.
He's never fighting again.
Look,
he hasn't fought in 10 years.
He was ready for this one, dude.
What are you going to do?
It's John Jones' fault.
Bad things happen. You know, unfortunately.
Sure.
And they book it again. Something else is going to happen. That's just the way it goes.
Well, we don't know that.
And we're never going to see Stipe fight again.
We'll see. But yeah, so that's the co-main. The main event, though, is Yuri Prochazka against Alex Pereira for the vacant 205-pound title, which is the third time we have had a vacant 205-pound title fight in 11 months. This one, though, features the actual number one light heavyweight in the world, Yuri Prochazka. So it feels like a real title fight for the actual best 205-pounder. Apologies to Vadim Nemkov over at Bellator, who I think is fantastic, but has also made his intentions clear that he's done at light heavyweight. So it's hard to look at that anymore and care about the totally hypothetical who's the better of the two at the weight class that now one of them doesn't even want to fight it anymore. So, but I like this fight. I think Pereira obviously beating Jan Blachowicz, I think, put himself in a position where you should say he's a viable challenger.
For sure.
This is a real title fight. I like this fight. I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad it's happening at Madison Square Garden. It makes perfect sense for Pereira to fight here again. Third year in a row. They debuts for the UFC 2 years ago. Fights for and wins the middleweight title last year. And this year fights for the light heavyweight title. So next year, obviously, he's fighting for the heavyweight title at Madison Square Garden.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, that's the pattern's going to hold. And then they will make a super heavyweight division, and he will win that one. He will beat Zuluzinho. That will be a fun fight. or Hongman Choi.
Okay.
Could be Hongman Choi. Reach it deep into the pockets for these these names. Late Pride and everything. Basically anybody who Fedor fought.
Okay.
Sorry, Fedor.
Fair.
There were some not so great ones. Bob Sapp. Just pulling out all the guys that were like super big. Did he fight Bob Sapp, or did only Minotauro fight him?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
The only thing I remember about Bob Sapp is that he liked to quit.
Yeah, well,
quickly.
I wonder why. We're not going to get into that today. But these are the two title fights. Number one, it's in our backyard. I'm covering it. I'll be there. But the real question I think our listeners want to know is Dan going to be there?
Well, no, because they banned me from the arena.
What?
I got banned from it for this event.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, their price points banned me. So no, I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay $400 to sit in a corner upper deck.
Well, that's fair if they've priced you out. I understand that. Here's the question, because the prices they've distinctly dipped since
they have
John
dropped,
Jones was off the card. A secondary market, you can find tickets at a different price now. What number will get you in that building?
$250 in the 200s.
$250 in the 200 level?
Yeah. That's after fees, $250.
$250's period, okay.
Including fees.
Okay. What if it's $252?
I'll bite the bullet.
Okay, I'm just curious if there's a little flexibility. Like, when I went and bought pizza at the pizza place around the corner before I got to your house, it was $4.28. I gave him $5. He gave me the other dollar back. He bit the bullet on the 28 cents. That was very nice of the proprietor.
Okay.
So I could see you being not nice, but what would be the opposite? I guess you're subservient to their fees.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, I hope it gets low enough for you. I want you to go. It's always nice when you're there. Then we can both talk about our shared experience.
Honestly, if Vegas went a little differently,
well, that's
I wouldn't have minded.
That's yeah. So if you had won, let's say you were up like $200 off of that, would you have felt like, I could pay $400 for this?
Maybe not where the 400 is priced right now. No.
Okay. I'm just curious
because I want to actually see them.
Of course, we don't live in that world. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Vegas was not as kind to you in that respect, but you did have fun. You said
I had a good time.
That's good. That's all that matters. We'll let the rest stay in this, except for that tattoo. Or is it a tattoo or is it your actual dog? I can't remember.
It's a tattoo.
You don't have your actual dog stapled to your body. Other fights here in New York. By the way, this being in New York, I expect we're going to have some high quality judging brought in. Not worried about the scoring at all.
Mm-hmm.
And notably, by the way, there will probably not, unless there's some sort of change in the way we've seen things in the last year. We'll probably not see Doug Crosby this venture to New York, which is a difference from previous years.
I wouldn't think so,
but that still remains to be seen. Other fights on the card: Mackenzie Dern against Jessica Andrade at this is at 125, I believe.
Mackenzie Dern, they're at 115.
Is it 115? Okay, yeah.
According to Tapology, 115.
Go with Tapology on that. I couldn't remember. I saw Mackenzie, by the way, today. Like I said, I think I told you this earlier, but Mackenzie Dern had to make it through. We were trying to pick up our equipment, clean up. We were doing something. And she hops over the equipment. And the first thing that went through my head is, oh, no, Tony Ferguson.
Oh, no, Tony.
We don't want that. So I said, be careful. She's like, I think I can make it. And I'm like, I'm sure you can. But in my head, I'm like, you don't know what happened to Tony Ferguson. You didn't think about that. You're not thinking about that. But I don't want to put that negativity in her life. She doesn't need it. So she made it fine. Everything was good. I like that fight. I think it's a good fight. Matt Frivola against Benoit Saint-Denis. This is almost definitely going to be fight of the night if it's not the title fights.
Okay. And
when I say the title fights, I really just mean 205 because if anything is getting a bonus from the heavyweight fight, it's knockout of the night.
Okay.
That is not going to go 5 rounds and get fight of the night. It's just not going to happen. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to be happy.
Okay.
Because that works out. Like that's the thing. I set myself up for a win-win. I like that.
Win-wins are always good.
They are. Nazim Sadikov, another local guy training out of Long Island. Well, he's local in where he trains and lives, but he is from Azerbaijan. Fighting Vyacheslav Slavaklaus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I tripped over it for a second. Borshev.
Mm-hmm.
I like that fight. I like Jared Gordon fighting against Mark O. Madsen or Mark O. Madsen or Marco Madsen.
Yes.
One of those or all three. Can't wait to find out after the fact which pronunciation we went with. It's just Mark O. Madsen, guys. Please. Are there other fights you were looking forward to on this one?
Yeah, Baby Shark versus Loopy.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a good one.
Saw them today.
Pat Sabatini and Diego Lopes should be pretty good.
Yes.
Also, I'm mostly interested in this. Roosevelt Roberts was just on Tough, but he's fighting a guy who I'm just not concerned. I'm excited to hear how they pronounce his name because it changes. They're fighting Matush Rebecki.
Is it Rabisky or Rebecki?
I
guess I don't know.
Rezbecki sometimes.
Whatever Anik says.
We're gonna see.
Let's trust Anik on this one.
Okay.
I always trust Anik. He knows what he's doing. He puts in the time. He puts in the work. Of these,
you got Josh Van. Fights, by the way. Josh Van's good too.
It's a good card. Yeah. It doesn't have, I think, the sexiest names after the first couple, but I think the fans are going to be happy with what they watch ultimately, and they've got 2 title fights on here, so I don't think there's much to complain about. This is a legitimate pay-per-view, even if we don't have the original John Jones Stipe Miocic. I like the heavyweight fight here better from an actual aesthetic standpoint in terms of what I think the fight will be.
Yeah, I just want to watch.
It's just not as appealing to the masses, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone I talk to, they're like, oh, without that fight, I don't know. I'm like, no, this is a good fight, you know? I'll tell them about Aspinall and Pavlovich for as long as it lasts. Please, first round.
It could be good, though.
I think it could be.
It could be a good long fight.
I mean, between the 2 of them, they've had 14 fights in the UFC. They're each 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
Only Aspinall has fought outside of the first round, and his fight, he ended it in 66 seconds in the second round.
All right, you know what?
He does the job right.
We are
Both these guys do.
Unsure about the gas tanks, so do it quick.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, man. Got to trust that. I would say, as far as the one that I think we're most likely to talk about on our program, sir, I'm going to say Steve Erceg and Alessandro Costa, which is the featured prelim at flyweight.
Okay.
I think that's the one we're most likely to be talking about.
Fair.
We'll see. We'll see if I'm right.
All right. We'll be back in a few days on Monday.
Yeah, for real. Monday.
Monday.
Yeah. Unless Dan decides to take an impromptu trip to Vegas again.
I don't think I would be.
I hope you don't.
I'm not opposed to it.
I know you're not. All right. Thanks for listening, y'all. Appreciate your patience.
Take care, everyone.